Hatshepsut, His Majesty herself. Accomplishments. With the exception of one military campaign against Nubia, Hatshepsut's reign was peaceful. Instead of expanding Egypt's borders through war and conquest, Hatshepsut built monuments within her country to proclaim its power. Her masterpiece was the magnificent temple at the site known today as Deir el-Bahri. The temple at Deir el-Bahri was also to be Hatshepsut's own mortuary temple. The building is set into the side of a mountain and rises gracefully in three beautiful proportioned tiers, each supported by columns like those to be seen centuries later in Greek temples. Its design was far ahead of its time. Hatshepsut called it Dijer Djezeru, or Holy of Holies. On the walls of this temple, Hatshepsut had artists carve and paint her biography. According to the story told on the walls, Djezeru she had been chosen as pharaoh by the gods themselves, even before her birth. Perhaps even after years on the throne, she still felt a need to justify a woman's right to rule. The gods in the pictures on the temple walls do not seem to care whether Hatshepsut is a man or a woman. In fact, some of the paintings show her as a boy. Perfumes played an important part of Egypt's ceremonies, and one of the rarest and finest was myrrh. Myrrh was made from the resin of a tree that grew not in Egypt, but in the faraway land of Punt. Historians today are not sure just where Punt was, but it was probably somewhere in southern Africa. For many generations, however, no Egyptian had made the long and hazardous sea journey to the land of Punt. 9 years into her reign, Hatshepsut sent out an expedition to travel to Punt. Her purpose was not war or conquest, but trade and exploration. After 2 long years with no word from the travelers, their ships finally returned with wonders. There were perfumes and gold, ivory and ebony, live panthers, leopards, and cheetahs, probably imported from India, an amazing giraffe, clever monkeys and baboons, even men and women from that strange land to the south. But the finest treasure of all was 31 live myrrh trees, their roots bound in balls of soil from Punt. The trees were planted in a fragrant avenue in Djezeru. For Hatshepsut, the expedition of Punt was one of the highlights of her reign. It was the sort of accomplishment she wanted memorialized forever in her mortuary temple. She had her artists record a detailed account of the journey on the interior walls of Djezeru, which remains to this day. After Hatshepsut had been on the throne for 15 years, she declared a jubilee, a year of special celebration. Most pharaohs held a jubilee in the 30th year of their reign. Maybe Hatshepsut felt she had accomplished enough in that time to deserve a celebration, or perhaps she was celebrating her 30th birthday. To mark the event, she ordered 2 tall, needle-shaped stone monuments called obelisks to be built and erected in her father's temple. In ancient Egypt, obelisks honored Re, the sun god, for they represented the first rays of sunlight ever to strike the earth. One of Hatshepsut's obelisks still stands. More than 97 feet high, it remains the tallest ancient monument in Egypt. 1. What is a jubilee? A. A type of precious gem. B. A rare and fragrant tree. C. A special celebration. D. A needle-shaped monument. Number 2. Reread the first 2 sentences and answer the following question. With the exception of one military campaign against Nubia, Hatshepsut's reign was peaceful. Instead of expanding Egypt's borders through war and conquest, Hatshepsut built monuments within her country to proclaim its power. Which of these best describes why the author began the passage with these sentences? A. To introduce the passage's focus on the military campaign against Nubia. B. To state the main idea that Hatshepsut resolved many Egyptian conflicts and brought peace to her people. C. To prepare readers to learn about the kind of monuments Hatshepsut built. D. To show how Hatshepsut was more powerful compared to other pharaohs. Number 3. What is the purpose and structure of paragraph 4? A. To explain the problems Hatshepsut faced with trade and exploration. B. To tell the negative effects that Hatshepsut's obsession with myrrh had on Egypt. C. To describe the reasons why perfumes, such as myrrh, were important to Egyptians. D. To describe the success of the expedition to Punt that Hatshepsut sent. Number 4. What was the author's purpose for including myrrh in paragraph 3 and obelisks in paragraph 6? A. To show another common spelling of myrrh and obelisks. B. To inform readers how to pronounce myrrh and obelisks. C. To show how Egyptians wrote the words myrrh and obelisks. D. To tell the reader the definitions of myrrh and obelisks. Number 5. Which of the following text features would best support the main topic of this passage? A. Map of Egypt's border changes. B. Photographs of Djeser. C. Sketch of Hatshepsut's face. D. Timeline of Hatshepsut's life.